oh, you're doing me a favor, massa, please. Like, yeah, I feel like it's some of that, like some, yeah, some, yo, I can get into it for real, but I do think it kind of has roots and stems all the way back from, you know, some relationships formed during slavery.
Get you a white woman. Even though you're Jack Johnson, you get arrested. The Mann Act.
Get you a white woman.
I think the basic problem, and I've talked to black women about this, is that once a black man marries a white woman and they have children and so forth, men generally die before the women, just in society, regardless of race. Once the white woman, if it's a successful man, she essentially takes whatever money and resources and power and so forth and brings it over to the white community.
Does she though? Since we consider black children,
Bro, it was the belt.
Excuse me, children of these mixed relationships.
Came in there like he already won.
We consider them black.
You see,
if they get the inheritance, black people just gain the inheritance.
Come on, that's a point.
That's why I was saying the problem with mixed, because you then threw it away to make black women feel good and say, yeah, well, they take all of the black money. No, that's not true. Because you just claimed all of those people were black. Barack Obama gets claimed black, and he was raised by...
We have all these street dudes up here, all these gangsters. You telling me you ain't got a secure location? Stop playing.
You ain't had no security where the security could have been like, hey, yo, make sure you...
Right. On the record, I just had nothing. Man, shut your lying ass up.
White woman.
And a white woman.
Right. The first black president was raised by a white woman, but no one wants to point this out.
Lenny Kravitz, white father, black mother.
Right. Man.
So white women are better raising kids?
Oh, God.
Turn out what other famous children came from a...
Because Diana Ross's kids are pretty down to earth.
Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm. Her kids are pretty...
But you know something? You're also talking about rich people. So when you talk about rich people, because me and Nick Cannon had this conversation recently. So when we were talking about his kids and racism and stuff like that, and he said, well, my kids are probably going to be in a bubble. Because like at the end of the day, this is Nick Cannon, Mariah Carey's children. They could always pull that card out.
Well, I say the same
and
thing.
People go take a step back and say, oh, okay, that's hundreds of millions of dollars in this particular situation.
Well, people were asking me about my daughter, and I said, it's not fair for me to compare your child to my child. My daughter goes to private school. She's going to have a different situation. She's not like you were bringing up economics. Economics is an issue. I'm not stupid enough to
I think it's the biggest issue. I think that when you take any person of any background and you give them a whole bunch of money.
Bro, economics is the foundation to any community.
Bro, I say, like, bro, the most high crime places is usually the most high place with high poverty rate.
That's true, too.
So, like, low-key, being poor and crime go hand in hand. Like, if you're, like, let's say, and financially not well-off person, you're more likely to go out there and rob a bank, sell drugs, you know, do whatever you can to get a leg up. But if you're good financially, the legal way, you're low-key going to be a law-abiding citizen, for real.
You ain't got no reason to commit no crimes, man. You want to uphold the law. The law is what made you money.
Actually, you know what's even funny? Even for the ones who drug deal and scam and make money, what do they try to do after? Get legal.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. Bro, the guy on Fresh and Fit said it. He tried to move his money to illegal ways.
And you
only play the game so long.
You give them nannies, you put them in a mansion, you put them in the best schools, you give them, and you also instill a feeling that the whole world is possible. You could achieve all this. This is normal. You see what I'm saying? And this is, for example, sorry to interrupt, but one of the things when people that have come to Vlad TV.
Tommy's temperament is something to be admired, though, because, bro, I would say any other social media or any other influencer would have walked out after.
Yeah, I'm done.
Bro, like, he would have low-key scrapped and would have been like, nah, Vlad, fuck you. You foul, you dirty as hell, you a rat. Bro, not only did he stay, he didn't even throw no fit.
Man, he just said, you know, I'll still finish the interview, but
I ain't gonna lie. Like, what?
Bro, his composure is just crazy.
It's something to be admired, low key. Like, I don't even know if I'm there yet as a man.
Bro, bro, if a nigga was in my face, like, bro, we ain't been
come
fighting.
on, Crispy. Come on, take your Crispy award with the phone in the other hand.
Bro.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, you fucking childish
Bro,
ass.
I would have fucked that nigga on camera. Like, glad you set this up. You wanted this, right?
Obama was the worst president ever. He did a shitty job. He did nothing for the black community, etc. I say, the one thing he did do is show every black kid in the world that you could be the president of the United States.
Well, but did he do that when his
hold on a sec? God damn. Seth been in here 5 minutes.
Did he do that though when his background is
the type
different
of time
than
he
theirs? Has a white mom who decided to say to him, "I'm going to forego my life to make sure you have everything." Because when I go to inner city schools, and I've had plenty of teachers talk about this, the parents don't show up on parent-teacher day. They only show up, the mothers, those single mothers, they don't show up until it's time for the kid to get suspended. These black women that you see out here, they're spending every dime they have on their weed.
Like, I promise, bro, swear to God, you was not jealous of those kids who was able to do that. But like, you were, bro, when we were kids, we were low-key jealous of the kids who would get in trouble. It would just sit there unfazed in the office when you know damn well using that same seat, your ass would be crocodile tears up in that motherfucker. You know what your mom about to do that ass.
Bro, you seen how deep some of them kids were playing to that role too. Yeah, call my mom. Call my mom.
Bro, and the mom come in snapping on the teacher.
Bro, like, why'd you call me when I was at work? Like, why'd you call me when I was at the home not doing shit? It's your job to parent these kids. I heard parents go off like, you're supposed to be teaching them. This is your time. Like, what? Hold on, this your kid acting up.
What the hell?
Clearly learned bad habits and you bringing them to the school like this.
Put
like
on other people though?
Yeah, what the hell? Like, oh man. Everybody says it best when they be like, oh yeah, the schools in the state raise the kids nowadays. Okay. They feed them, they program them.
We ain't got too much lazy ass parents. Like, lazy parenting is real. Man. And too current.
Eve and their outfit.
Shout out to the active parents.
But how many have you heard of them say, I'm going to spend every dime to make sure my kid can be bused over to this good school. I'm going to go pay for a private school. You don't see that.
You see a lot of
And bro, actually, man, we can speak on that. Coming from, position we came from, having parents that low-key didn't have it, but made sure we went to good schools.
Low-key. They
worked 2-3 jobs to make sure we was in good schools. Like, if you care about your kid, you'll be willing to make that sacrifice.
Bro, like, I'm talking about they're willing to put themselves in that good area and be like, yeah, this is where you're going to go.
Barely affording other bills, maybe sacrificing other aspects of life, but your education and where you went to school was more important than that.
Oh, God, I ain't gonna lie. My mom took that sacrifice.
My mom did too, G. Oh, single moms. Had to do it. Had to do it, though.
Shout out.
Bruh.
Single moms.
Don
working 2 jobs.
And the rest of y'all single moms.
There's a lot of mothers who sacrifice for their kids. You can't say every black mother.
No, I didn't say every.
You cannot.
You can't. A good point that he killed on though is when the strippers, they're making hella money, bro. We talking about strippers who got kids that make more money than our moms has ever seen
in a year. Right.
And their kids are not in private school.
No, you're a piece of shit. Exactly. You're a piece of shit if you do some shit like that.
Bitches making 1,000, 2,000 a day, and
you sending them to George Washington High,
bro. You sending them to public school,
bro. Stop playing with me. You send them to George Washington High, and you talking about you make $50,000 a month. Stop playing with me,
bro. OnlyFans girls would probably be the same.
That's true, man. I didn't say
there is even a situation.
It's like tossing your kids to the
wolves. A woman going to jail.
You don't have
because she lied about where her son actually lived, so he could be in a better school.
Really, nigga?
She ended up going to jail over it for kind of falsifying information, and because
that was in Maryland.
Maryland, yeah. She said that her son lived, I think, at her father's house. And it was very kind of close.
There was more to that than how it was presented to the public, as most of it is.
Yeah.
But my point is, I never said it was all. My point is, you rarely see these huge number of women who have the opportunity to take their money and just get their kids out of these schools. Just like you pointed out that one, I can point out to you in Chicago, a black woman
you might be able to earn one of these from
the news talking about she lost all 5 of her children to gun violence in the neighborhood. Let me ask you something, Vlad. If you had 5 children, after one of them got shot in the neighborhood, what would you do?
You would move.
Instead, she's on television wanting sympathy after 5 children have been murdered.
There's a lot of mothers and fathers out there that should not have been mothers and fathers. I think that this is established. I don't think this is up for debate. I think that there's a lot of people.
And no disrespect at all. None at all. RIP to the fallen. But how do you have 5 kids that die in the same way? That's like I got
the same city.
Bro, that's like I got 5 kids that died from car accidents. Like, nigga, you was a terrible driving instructor, nigga.
God,
like,
nigga.
bro, like,
maybe you need to leave it to the school or something,
yeah,
bro.
like, bro, that clearly is a result of poor parenting. Like, you didn't instill the proper discipline or the proper knowledge in your kids, and it led all 5 of them down the same path.
Like, bro, if all 5 of your kids ended up in a mental institution, bro, what type of parent were you, nigga?
Bro,
we really gonna look at you crazy.
Clearly, I was toxic as hell.
Like 5 for 5?
Bro, 5 for 5. All, bro,
should have gotten abortions, who did not, who should have taken a plan B,
100%.
or who should have used a condom.
From the graveyard.
In fact, there's kind of an interesting story that I read at one point. There was this book called The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, I think. You heard of this guy? It was a New York Times bestseller. So what they did was they looked at a certain year, crime dropped significantly. There was a huge drop in crime, and no one could quite figure out why it was, because more or less America was making the same amount of money, the social issues were more or less the same, and so on. There was a huge drop off in crime. Okay. And what they figured out was this was roughly 15 years after Roe versus Wade passed. And once you made abortion legal, you suddenly had all these situations of people who did not want to have children, who now could abort children and not put a whole bunch of people into the world in a bad situation.
Yeah, I ain't gonna.
Not a 2-parent home, rape, whatever you want to call it, 15 years old, whatever situation is, side chick, whatever else. Up until Roe versus Wade, you had to have that child, or you had to risk your own life trying to abort it into a back alley, type situation where a lot of people end up dying because no actual hospital or medical facility could legally abort a baby. And suddenly you could abort a baby, and you took all these people out of the equation. And because of that, the crime dropped.
I believe it. Let me ask you something. You said earlier. You said if you take poor white people, you get the same numbers as poor black people.
Yeah.
You also said there are more poor whites than poor blacks.
Correct.
Then by that logic, the roughest cities in the United States should be white. Ooh. By your own logic. But it's not true. Kansas. Nothing but poor people up in Kansas and all these back alley places. Guess what they don't have to deal with?
Well, hold on.
Tommy over here coming with the straight
You're also
heat,
not
man. Make sure to
cities.
like the video.
You're not talking about urban environments where there's a lot of people in a small amount of space. Like,
so all these poor white people are spread out and the black people are in one spot?
I think, if I'm not wrong, there are more black people who live in cities as opposed to rural communities. Is that right?
You would assume. I would assume. That one I don't know.
I think that boils down to the state. Because if you look at larger states like New York, pretty much the cities with metropolitan cities.
Hey, man, shout out to friends, man. And always keeping the chat interesting on the Rumble side.
Oh, God, appreciate you, man. Make sure to like the video on YouTube and Rumble. Appreciate y'all tuning in. But I think that goes down to the cities. Like, if you look at, I'll take Ohio, for example, like Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus. Like, yeah, a lot of people, black people do live and dominate the inner cities. But if you probably take states like Alabama and some of those southern states where there aren't really metropolitan cities, like, yeah, you're going to find black people out in the boonies and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can't say it, but I'm just going to go with that.
I'm pretty sure about that. I'm pretty sure. When you go through Kansas, you're not going to see a whole bunch of black people living in farms. You're not going to see millions of people. But you remember and people are usually white. Like, I think that it doesn't seem like blacks really...
No, we don't. Still going. This man had 5, 6 YouTube accounts.
Bro.
Like 3, 4, 5 Instagram accounts.
Dude done sold a business. It's like,
bro, you can't stop this.
And
man.
He's been debanked, banned from most social medias, bro.
But the message is powerful though. He still makes his way onto somebody's platform. Bro, I think he's like a contributor to Fox News.
Yeah.
Like,
bro, yeah, he's on there now. He's
bro, like this man Tommy will always find a way. Shout out.
Control the farming industry.
Yeah, we don't congregate in Minnesota, not Minnesota, but in Montana.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't.
You go to certain places, and you're like, oh, a black person. It's like a unicorn
what big
or something.
City do
like,
they
wow.
have in Montana, anyways? Like, yeah, black people are out there, but they're in the boonies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you from Montana, my bad. Like, let me know. But shit,
think of Chicago.
Chicago.
Everybody knows Chicago's red line. They separate. I used to date a Russian chick from Chicago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She would talk about the red line. I didn't know what that meant. She was like, well, people kind of self-segregate. The Russians stay here, even the Polish stay here. Yeah. Everybody has their own.
New York is the same way.
Right. But then you look at it. For some reason, where the blacks are congregating.
Biggest police force.
Because when you think of Chicago, when you hear white people or Russian people or whoever say Chicago, they're not thinking violent. But when you say black in Chicago, you think violence.
I think one of the problems is, and this is something
that's bad.
I talked to this one guy.
It's true. Like,
he's from England.
It's like word association. Like black Chicago. Like, oh my god. Like
GD.
Like oh god. Like
I'm phoning them,
bro.
Oh god.
Hi. Like, where's my goddamn?
He's like, bro, we don't need them type of problems,
bruh.
He was a rapper and also an activist, and he said that you don't have in England, you don't have middle class or upper class black communities. Mm-hmm. You have rich blacks, of course, in the country, who live in the wider mixed communities and so forth. But you don't have I feel like Atlanta has an upper class black community.
Yeah, we do in the Camp Creek and the Decatur area.
That's what I'm saying. You don't see
There's some rich black people in Atlanta.
I think if you had more affluent black communities, like Harlem used to be and so forth, not
or
so much
Prince
anymore.
George's County in the DC area.
I think that would be just a better thing overall. And and this kind of brings me back to the whole thing with Obama. It's like I don't think you could, even though Obama did have a white mother, I don't think you could discount.
Yes, he did. It's a fact.
Black people in general seeing this and saying,
did you know Obama also dated white women all the way up until Michelle?
Wait, for real?
That's what they said. And I was like, man, if you really think about it, that tracks. That makes so much sense because, bro, Michelle Obama did a lot for Barack's career.
Hey, DEI relationship,
bro.
Oh my God,
man.
And I was like, yeah, I could see them approaching Obama like while he was still governor of Illinois. Like, look, you're doing well, but if you want to go further in politics,
you need this black woman,
bro,
who used to be a man.
It could be done. I didn't think there was going to be a black president.
Come on,
I really did not. Based on how
we ain't gonna go there.
Racist America is, I really just did not think it was going to happen.
The stars aligned. I agree with you.
You had a guy that...
You had a horrible president that preceded him.
A horrible president preceded him. One of the worst presidents ever that preceded him. But you had a guy that was extremely charismatic.
Yes.
An incredible speaker. I would put him up there with the Kennedy.
And he could have never done that with a white wife, the other part that you asked me. Had he had a white wife, black women would have turned against him and black men would have followed.
Yeah.
Black men follow black women. Even in this last election, black women voted for Hillary Clinton at a 96% clip.
Voting-wise.
Way higher than black women did. And that's one of their fellow white women. White women voted 56% for Donald Trump. Black women voted 96%
for Hillary
Clinton.
Yeah.
Damn. Hold on. Because they had the same numbers for Kamala almost. So it's damn near saying, like, if you throw a woman up there, like, you're going to get the female vote.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm saying. That's what we damn near say. Females shouldn't vote because, like, bro, if that's all it takes to get your vote.
You could throw a demon up there in female clothing.
Like,
you what?
Right now, bro, I don't care if you're a black man. It's not enough to win my vote.
It's not. It's like, actually, I might examine you harder. Like, bro, who you representing us?
Like, man, who you support, man?
Exactly.
Who backing you?
Bro, what's your stance on these issues? Like, do you support this, and that country? Like,
and if you do, my nigga.
Oh, God.
You have a woman who was under the presidency of her husband, arrested more blacks in the history of the country.
Right.
More black males were put in jail because of their policies. Yet we as black people still refer to Bill Clinton as what? The first black president. Why? Because he cheated on his wife, smoked weed, and played the saxophone. That's all it takes to be black. You yourself have
man,
had
they
black
said
people. I'm
he
sure you've had
invited
them
to
say
the
to you, "You
cookout."
black like us,
My
nigga."
nigga smoke weed, play saxophone, that's lit.
Not exactly in those words, but I see where you're going with it.
No other race says that no matter how cool I am with other races, they don't say you're like us. They just say you're not like them, but they don't say you're like us.
Well, they switched up now.
Black people in general, what I found in terms of my experience is they're very inviting, more so than other races,
Because we
other
like everybody.
nationalities, which are more exclusionary.
Because we like everybody else better than we like ourselves. That's why mixed children do better
Make
amongst
sure to
blacks.
like the video.
'Cause we
Appreciate
think
y'all
they're
tuning
prettier.
in, man.
Because they don't have to buy sew-in weave. They actually like their hair. You ever notice on commercials? Every time they show a mixed girl, she has her natural curly hair.
True.
What about Naomi Campbell? Considered one of the most beautiful women of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Very dark skinned.
Yes. There's always one. Remember that if you bring in one of something.
Iman.
Yes. And these
Another
were
one.
spread out.
Now, the next one I think you made some comments about, and that's Serena Williams.
Serena.
Oh boy.
I feel so bad for Serena. Serena had to become the dancer for Beyonce, light skin.
Wild.
She was twerking in front of the light skinned woman as the light skinned woman sits down and basically treats her like a stripper. Odd coming from the woman who's the most decorated sports athlete since Flojo.
Just say you don't like yourself.
Why would she take that role? It's the same way as Simone Biles.
True, bro.
Simone Biles, dark skin, Olympic gold medalist. What does her first big break get in the entertainment? Being the side chick to a guy named Jake Miller, I think his name is. Jake Miller, a
Simone
singer.
Biles?
Yeah.
Who's that?
I know that.
She's a gold medalist. The little short girl who won the
She
gold
got a
medal.
just recently.
NFL
Yeah.
husband now.
Okay, and
but
what was the...
There's a guy named
first
Jake Miller,
relationship, her first
white
major
guy, just
relationship was with a
average
white
ordinary
man.
white guy who did a video putting her in it. And
video?
Black, you can go look in the comments. Vlad, you'll be disgusted. Well, if you were me, you would be. Black girls were
Okay.
swooning over the
Jake
fact.
Miller, Overnight, starring Simone Biles.
See?
Jake Miller was a singer?
Yeah, it's just some white guy that's supposed to be, you give him a haircut and he
some
gets black if he sings the type of music like Usher or whatever.
I mean, I've never heard of this before until you're mentioning it to me. It got 1.3 million views, which I'm sure having Simone Biles in the title probably got most of those views.
That's what I'm saying. So why would she, being who she was, have to help out this no-name white boy to the point of where in the comment section you see nothing but black girls talking about how beautiful they are and hope they are a couple. Even saying comments like their kids will be beautiful, which you always hear black women say about mixed couples. Those kids are going to be beautiful. Now, in saying this white boy has a white girlfriend he's been with for years. But they pretended he wasn't. And even if you watch the video, it's funny. He never does anything with her but holds her hand. When he's in the bed, he's in the bed by himself. He doesn't do anything with her.
Probably
Didn't
because
really
Simone
claim her
Biles
for
was
real.
a-
You
stupid.
No, not wrong. She says what I'm saying. No. I'm not saying that they were
She gonna
wrong.
wear a thong and twerk.
No, what I'm
I
saying
really
is
think-
like, they didn't look like they
about you
were
for real.
like a real couple. It just looked like she was his friend. But the black girls were saying, "Oh,
Well, she's
they're in
definitely a
relationship."
love interest. I mean, I'm watching this right now.
Right.
Uh,
They do the whole.
I guess I don't see what the big deal with this.
No, the big deal is how the women reacted.
Okay.
Because you do the same thing. I don't know if you remember the Cheerios commercial. Well, all they showed was a mixed kid and a black dad. And black women went nuts and tried to get them to take the commercial down. It was the sweetest commercial.